Welcome back to Rare Coins All World. Hello coin lovers. Today we're diving into a special coin from the past, one that may just be hiding in your coin jar or old collection. Yes, we're talking about the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent. At first glance, it might seem like just another penny, but there's so much more to this coin than meets the eye. In fact, this humble little penny could be worth much more than you think. Stick with us as we explore the rich history, intricate design, and, of course, the potential value of the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent coin. By the end of this video, you'll be blown away by what this penny could be worth today. First, let's take a trip back in time. The Lincoln 1 cent was first introduced in 1909, designed by the talented artist Victor David Brenner. This iconic coin has featured President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, front, side since its inception, making it one of the most recognizable coins in the world. On the reverse side, you'll see two wheat stalks on either side of the inscription, 1 cent. This design, known as the wheat penny, was used until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. But our focus today is on the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent, which falls under the later era when the Lincoln Memorial design was introduced. The 1963 Lincoln cent is part of a significant era in American coinage. By this time, the Lincoln Memorial design, which featured the iconic memorial that honors the 16th President of the United States, had already been in circulation for 5 years. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was the standard for pennies back then. The obverse of the 1963 Lincoln cent features a beautiful portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse side showcases the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., symbolizing the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents. However, as with many coins, the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent can be much more valuable than its face value when it's in the right condition or possesses rare characteristics. Most of the pennies that were minted during this time were heavily circulated, which means they've seen years of wear and tear. Most people simply spent them in day-to-day transactions, which is why finding one in pristine condition is so rare. But if you happen to come across a 1963 Lincoln cent in excellent, uncirculated condition, it could be worth much more than you would expect. The key to understanding the value of the 1963 Lincoln cent is its condition and rarity. Coins that have been well preserved and kept in pristine, uncirculated condition can command a significantly higher price. The reason for this is that uncirculated coins show no signs of wear, scratches, or damage. They retain their original luster and sharp details, which makes them highly sought after by collectors. So, when you're inspecting your pennies, make sure to check for any signs of wear that might affect the coin's value. Now, you may be wondering, what makes the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent so valuable in the first place? While the coin was minted in fairly large quantities, there are a few things that can make a 1963 penny stand out. One of the most important factors to consider is any minting errors. These are mistakes that happen during the coin's production, and they can dramatically increase the coin's value. Minting errors can range from minor imperfections, like a misaligned design, to more noticeable issues, such as double strikes or missing details. For example, one of the most sought-after varieties is the 1963 Lincoln cent with a double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice, creating a slight doubling of the design on the obverse side, typically in the date or lettering. The more prominent the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Minting errors like this are rare, which is why they are so prized by collectors. If you find a 1963 Lincoln cent with this error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Another key aspect that affects the value of a 1963 penny is its overall rarity in pristine condition. Most 1963 pennies were used in daily transactions and have been worn down over time. However, if you happen to have a 1963 penny that has been stored away carefully and remains in excellent or uncirculated condition, it could be a rare find. Collectors are always looking for coins that have been preserved in their original state, and these pennies are harder to find as the years go by. Now, let's get to the exciting part. Just how much can a 1963 Lincoln 1 cent be worth? Well, the value of a 1963 penny largely depends on its condition, any minting errors, and how rare it is. A typical 1963 Lincoln cent in average condition is worth only a few cents, maybe a little more if it's in better shape. But when it comes to rare, uncirculated coins or those with minting errors, the value can rise exponentially. If you're fortunate enough to own a 1963 Lincoln 1 cent that is in pristine condition or has a rare minting error, you could be looking at a value that's far beyond the typical penny's worth. Some of these rare finds have sold for incredible amounts at auction. In fact, a well-preserved, uncirculated 1963 Lincoln cent, especially one with a notable minting error, could be worth as much as $33,000. That's right, $33,000 for a single penny. It's amazing to think that a coin worth just 1 cent when it was first minted could now fetch such an extraordinary price. So, how can you tell if you found a valuable 1963 Lincoln cent? Start by inspecting the condition of the coin. Look for any signs of wear or scratches that may detract from its value. If the coin looks like it's in mint or near mint condition, then it's worth further investigation. Next, check for any unusual features that might suggest a minting error, such as double strikes or misalignments. These small details can make a world of difference in terms of value. If you come across a 1963 Lincoln 1 cent in your collection, make sure to check it closely. It could very well be worth more than you imagine. Even if it's not worth thousands, you could still have a valuable and rare coin on your hands. That's it for today's video, coin collectors. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent and the factors that make it so valuable. Remember, it's not always the age of the coin that determines its worth, it's the condition, rarity, and any minting errors that can really make a coin shine. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin from 1949, the United States Lincoln 1 cent. This penny might seem ordinary at first glance, but trust me, it's far from that. Today, we'll explore the history, design, and most importantly, the value of the 1949 Lincoln 1 cent coin. Stick around until the end, because you won't believe how much this humble penny could be worth. Let's take a step back in time to 1949. The world was still recovering from the effects of World War II, and the U.S. economy was going through a period of growth and rebuilding. This was a time when American coinage was being minted in large numbers to keep up with the demands of a growing population and economy. The Lincoln 1 cent coin, which had been in circulation since 1909, was still a popular and widely used piece of currency. At the time, the coin featured the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. This design, known as the wheat penny, was a staple of U.S. coinage for nearly half a century. But what makes the 1949 Lincoln 1 cent so special? For one, it marks a particular year in American history when the country was still very much in the midst of post-war economic change. Coins from this era, including the 1949 penny, are considered historical artifacts that reflect a pivotal moment in the country's development. However, when we look at the 1949 Lincoln 1 cent, it's not just its history that makes it valuable, it's the rarity, condition, and sometimes even the minting errors that can make this penny worth much more than its face value. When it comes to coins, the condition is key. Most of the 1949 pennies that were minted for circulation were quickly spent, used in daily transactions, and, as a result, many of them have seen better days. They've been worn down, scratched, and damaged over time. But coins that have remained in excellent or uncirculated condition are much rarer, and this is where the real value lies. If you happen to have a 1949 Lincoln penny that looks like it just came off the minting press, free of wear, scratches, or discoloration, then you're holding on to something special. Uncirculated coins are highly sought after by collectors, and their value increases significantly when they've been well preserved. But even if your 1949 Lincoln penny isn't in perfect condition, there are other factors to consider that could make it worth a lot more. One of the biggest factors in determining the value of a coin is the rarity of certain mintages. The 1949 penny, like many other coins from the post-war era, was minted in large quantities. However, certain varieties of the 1949 Lincoln cent were produced in lower numbers, which makes them rarer and more valuable today. If you happen to have one of these rarer varieties, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than the typical penny. Now, let's talk about something that can really make a coin stand out: minting errors. Minting errors are mistakes that occur during the production process. These errors are usually accidental, and they can range from small imperfections, like a misaligned design, to more dramatic errors, such as double strikes or off-center coins. Minting errors are incredibly rare, and they can make a coin far more valuable to collectors. A 1949 Lincoln penny with a notable minting error could fetch a significant amount at auction or from a private collector. For example, a 1949 penny with a double die error, a misalignment in the engraving that causes the image to appear twice, can be extremely valuable. The 1949 Lincoln 1 cent is also part of the larger series of wheat pennies, which were minted from 1909 to 1958. The iconic wheat stalks on the reverse side of the coin have made these pennies a favorite among collectors for decades. But it's the coins from certain years, like 1949, that hold a special place in collectors' hearts. Coins that were produced during specific time periods, especially when they're in great condition or feature unique characteristics, often carry higher value than others from the same series. Now, you might be thinking, how much could a 1949 Lincoln 1 cent really be worth? While the typical 1949 penny is only worth a few cents, maybe $1 or $2 if it's in excellent condition, some 1949 Lincoln cents have sold for extraordinary amounts. If you've got one that's been well preserved, or better yet, one that has a minting error or is a rarer variety, it could be worth a whole lot more. So here's the exciting part: are you ready for the big reveal? If you have a 1949 Lincoln 1 cent in pristine condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $30,000. Yes, you heard that right, $30,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent could now fetch such a hefty price. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity and condition really do make all the difference. Now that you know how much a 1949 Lincoln 1 cent can be worth, it's time to start inspecting your own coins. If you have any old pennies lying around, don't just toss them aside. Take a good look at them to see if you might have a hidden treasure. Look for coins that are in excellent condition, or check for any minting errors or unusual characteristics that could increase their value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1949 penny in near perfect condition, or with a rare error, you might just have a valuable coin on your hands. And that's it for today's video. We hope you've learned something new about the value of the 1949 Lincoln 1 cent. It just goes to show that even the most ordinary looking coins can hold extraordinary value if you know what to look for. Today we've got something exciting to talk about: a true gem for collectors. The 1966 Lincoln 1 cent is more than just a penny. It could be worth a lot more than you expect. Stick with us as we dive into the history, design, and the real value of this classic coin. By the end of this video, you'll be amazed at how much the 1966 Lincoln 1 cent could fetch today. So, let's get started. The Lincoln 1 cent coin has a history that stretches all the way back to 1909, and it's one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, and it's become synonymous with American coinage. While the coin itself has been in circulation for well over a century, the 1966 version stands out as a collector's favorite. At first glance, it may seem like just another penny, but there are some special characteristics about the 1966 Lincoln cent that make it one worth investigating. The Lincoln cent design has seen a few changes over the years. Up until 1958, the coin featured a reverse side with 2 wheat stalks, what we commonly refer to as the wheat penny. After 1958, the reverse was updated to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design has remained in circulation ever since. The 1966 coin is part of the Lincoln Memorial design series, and it's a great example of U.S. coinage during the 1960s. In terms of the physical design, the 1966 Lincoln cent is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was the standard for pennies back in the day. The obverse side of the coin prominently features President Lincoln's profile, facing right, with the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" around the top and sides. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, with the words, "E Pluribus Unum" inscribed above it. It's a simple, yet powerful design that resonates with American history. However, as with any coin, the true value lies not only in the design but in its condition and rarity. Most 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coins were produced in large numbers and circulated widely. This means that the majority of these coins have been worn down over time, showing signs of use, scratches, and discoloration. But here's the catch: coins that have been well preserved in near mint or uncirculated condition are far more valuable than those that have been heavily used. When it comes to the 1966 Lincoln cent, collectors and numismatists are looking for coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition. These coins should have sharp, crisp details and no signs of wear or aging. The shiny, lustrous appearance that uncirculated coins have is what makes them so desirable. If you happen to come across a 1966 Lincoln cent that looks as though it just came off the minting press, you may have stumbled upon something quite valuable, but there's more to the value of a 1966 Lincoln cent than just its condition. One of the main factors that can increase the value of a coin is if it has a minting error. Minting errors happen when a mistake occurs during the production process, and these errors are rare and highly collectible. They can range from something as simple as a misaligned die to something more dramatic like a double strike or a coin that was struck on the wrong planchet. The 1966 Lincoln 1 cent is known to have some minting errors, particularly a rare, double die variety. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck twice by the die, creating a slight doubling effect on the design. This is most commonly seen in the numbers of the date or the lettering on the obverse side of the coin. If you happen to find a 1966 penny with a double die error, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth much more than you might think. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rare minting errors, as they make the coin unique and highly desirable. Another potential factor that can affect the value of a 1966 Lincoln cent is its rarity. While millions of these pennies were minted, not all of them are in excellent condition. This means that a well-preserved 1966 penny, especially one that has been carefully stored away and remains in its original, uncirculated state, could be worth much more than a typical circulated penny. The rarity of coins in excellent condition is what makes them so valuable in the world of coin collecting. Now, let's get to the exciting part: the value of the 1966 Lincoln 1 cent. You might be surprised to learn that this seemingly simple penny can fetch an impressive price, especially if it's in top condition or has a minting error. While most 1966 pennies are worth just a few cents, those in uncirculated condition, or with minting errors, can be worth far more. If you've got a 1966 Lincoln 1 cent that's in mint condition, or better yet, one with a double die error or another rare minting mistake, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $44,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $44,000 for a single penny. It's truly incredible to think that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could hold such a high value in the world of numismatics. So, what should you do if you think you might have a valuable 1966 Lincoln cent? First, take a close look at the coin's condition. Is it shiny, crisp, and well-defined? If so, you might want to get it professionally graded to determine its value. Next, check for any signs of minting errors. If you spot a double die or another unusual feature, that could be the key to unlocking its true value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's always worth taking a second look at your coins. You never know when you might discover a hidden treasure. The 1966 Lincoln 1 cent may seem like just another penny, but with its historical significance, potential for minting errors, and the possibility of being in excellent condition, it could be a coin worth thousands. Today might just be your lucky day. We're diving into the world of one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in American history, the 1944 Lincoln 1 cent. You may have some of these in your collection or come across one tucked away in your change jar, but you might be surprised by just how much they could be worth today. Stay with us to uncover the full story behind the 1944 Lincoln cent, and trust me, you won't believe how much it could fetch in today's market. Let's set the scene and rewind to 1944. This was a year that holds great historical significance. The United States was deep into World War II, and the country's economy and production were entirely geared toward supporting the war effort. Everything from tanks to ammunition was being made in mass quantities. As a result, the U.S. Mint faced shortages of the usual copper supplies that were used to make pennies. Because of this, the government decided to switch up the material used for the 1944 penny, and here's where things get interesting. The 1944 Lincoln 1 cent was primarily minted using steel and zinc-coated steel during the war years to conserve copper for military uses. However, when the war ended, the mint returned to using copper for the penny. But here's the kicker: some 1944 pennies were actually struck with the leftover steel planchets that had been intended for the 1943 penny, which was made entirely of steel. These pennies, often called steel 1944 pennies or wrong planchet pennies, are incredibly rare and valuable today. Now, you might be thinking, a penny is just a penny, right? Well, not always. The 1944 Lincoln cent is anything but ordinary. The regular pennies from this year, which were made from copper, are already part of one of the most iconic designs in U.S. coinage. The obverse side features the profile of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most revered figures in American history, along with the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The reverse side, which originally depicted two wheat stalks and has become known as the wheat penny, is a beautiful representation of the agricultural roots of the United States, but it's not the standard 1944 Lincoln penny that we're focusing on today. It's the rare 1944 steel penny that gets all the attention from collectors. These steel pennies were minted by accident, and when they entered circulation, most of them were either thrown away or used up over time. Today, finding one in good condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. For collectors, the value of the 1944 Lincoln 1 cent is determined by several factors. Of course, the most important is the condition of the coin. Coins that are in mint or near mint condition are far more valuable than those that have been heavily worn or damaged. It's quite common for pennies from this era to show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and fading of details. However, if you happen to find a 1944 penny that has been carefully preserved, or even better, one of the rare steel versions, you could be holding on to a true treasure. Minting errors, as we all know, are one of the most exciting things for collectors. When a coin is struck incorrectly, it can make the coin incredibly unique and desirable. For the 1944 penny, the most well-known error is the steel penny, which, as mentioned, was struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year. These accidental steel pennies are extremely rare, and when they do show up, they can command prices well beyond their face value. The error occurred when leftover steel planchets were mistakenly used to mint 1944 pennies. The U.S. Mint was aware of the mistake and immediately recalled most of these coins, but some of them slipped through the cracks and entered circulation. This rare mistake is what makes the 1944 steel penny one of the most coveted items among coin collectors. If you happen to have one of these coins in your possession, you could be holding onto a piece of American history. So, what makes the 1944 Lincoln 1 cent so special in the world of numismatics? The answer lies in its rarity, historical significance, and potential minting errors. Most 1944 pennies were made with copper, and there were very few steel pennies minted by mistake. As a result, the value of a 1944 penny, especially one in good condition or featuring the rare steel error, is extremely high. Coins like these rarely come up for sale, and when they do, collectors will pay top dollar to get their hands on them. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value of a 1944 Lincoln 1 cent. While most 1944 copper pennies are worth only a few cents or a couple of dollars at most, the rare steel 1944 pennies can be worth an extraordinary amount of money. In fact, If you happen to own a 1944 Lincoln 1 cent that's in excellent condition or one of the coveted steel pennies, you could be looking at a value of $53,000. That's right, $53,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but these rare coins have been known to sell for staggering prices at auctions, and the demand for them only seems to grow. So, if you're holding on to any 1944 pennies, now might be the perfect time to take a closer look at them. If you find one in pristine condition or spot a steel penny among your collection, you might be sitting on a small fortune. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and who knows, you could have a $53,000 penny in your collection without even realizing it. Thank you for joining us today on this exciting journey through the history and value of the 1944 Lincoln 1 cent. We hope this video has inspired you to take a closer look at your coins and see if you might have any hidden treasures in your collection. Today's video is sure to captivate you. We're about to dive into one of the most interesting coins in American history, the 1950 Lincoln 1 cent. This penny, although it may seem like just another copper coin, has some incredible value if you know what to look for. From its historical context to the rarities that can significantly boost its worth, we're going to take you through everything you need to know about the 1950 Lincoln 1 cent. To start, let's set the scene for 1950. This was a time of great change in the United States. The country was recovering from the aftermath of World War II, and the economy was experiencing a period of growth and stability. The 1950s also marked the beginning of the Cold War and significant cultural shifts. So, it's no surprise that the 1950 Lincoln 1 cent is an important piece of U.S. coinage, reflecting the era's economic and political landscape. The Lincoln 1 cent coin itself has been in circulation for well over a century, with the first Lincoln penny being issued in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, created by artist Victor David Brenner, features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and a design symbolizing American agriculture on the reverse. The 1950 penny is part of the wheat cent series, which means it has the famous wheat stalks on the back, which is one of the most recognizable designs in American coin history. But let's focus on the 1950 coin itself. It was produced with a copper composition, as was standard for pennies at the time, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. The obverse side shows the bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the inscription "Liberty" to the left, the date, 1950, at the bottom, and the words, "In God We Trust," above his profile. On the reverse side, we see two wheat stalks framing the words, "United States of America," and "E Pluribus Unum," with 1 cent in the center. It's a beautiful coin, with design elements that reflect the values and history of the United States. While the 1950 Lincoln 1 cent was produced in large numbers, what makes it so intriguing to collectors is the way it has stood the test of time. The key to its value, like many coins, lies in its condition. Pennies that were circulated for years inevitably face wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, and fading of the details. A coin in good condition is always worth more than a heavily worn one. But here's the twist with the 1950 penny: certain years, including 1950, have been identified as key dates for certain rare varieties. So what exactly makes the 1950 Lincoln cent valuable to collectors? The answer lies in the production numbers and the rare varieties of this penny. The most interesting fact about the 1950 Lincoln cent is that there were some unique coins minted that year due to subtle differences in the minting process. One of the most significant rare varieties is the 1950 D penny, minted in Denver, which can be worth significantly more than a standard 1950 penny due to its low mintage. Coins that are struck with certain mint marks or show specific characteristics are known to be much rarer than their counterparts. In the case of the 1950 Lincoln cent, some collectors seek out those produced in Denver, as they were produced in smaller numbers. A 1950 D penny in mint or uncirculated condition can fetch a much higher price than the more common 1950 pennies, but that's not all. Another reason the 1950 Lincoln cent has drawn the attention of collectors is due to its age. At over 70 years old, the 1950 penny holds historical value as well as numismatic significance. The Lincoln Cent series as a whole is iconic, and coins from certain years, especially those that have survived in excellent condition, can be incredibly valuable. Now, let's talk about the coin's true worth in the market. While most 1950 pennies are relatively inexpensive, the value of a 1950 Lincoln 1 cent can skyrocket depending on its condition and rarity. Coins in excellent, uncirculated condition can be worth hundreds, and in some cases, even thousands of dollars, but here's the big reveal: the 1950 Lincoln 1 cent, particularly if it's in near perfect or mint condition, could be worth as much as $47,000. That's right, $47,000. It may seem hard to believe for a coin that's so small and so commonly found in circulation, but when you consider the rarity, historical value, and mint condition, it's easy to see why collectors are willing to pay such a hefty price. The $47,000 price tag is usually associated with the rarer varieties, such as the 1950 D penny or those with minting errors or other unique characteristics. If you come across a 1950 penny in pristine condition, it might be worth getting it professionally graded by a numismatist to determine its true value. You could be sitting on a small fortune. For coin collectors, finding these rare varieties or high-condition examples can be an exciting treasure hunt. As with all collectibles, condition plays a major role in determining a coin's market value. So, if you have any 1950 Lincoln 1 cent coins in your collection, it's definitely worth checking the condition, mint mark, and any potential errors. With a little luck and a keen eye, you might just uncover a coin that could make you a substantial profit. In conclusion, the 1950 Lincoln 1 cent is more than just a piece of U.S. currency, it's a piece of American history. With the right variety, minting year, and condition, this seemingly simple penny can turn into a valuable treasure. Whether it's the historical significance of the design, the rarity of certain varieties, or the fact that it's nearly 75 years old, this penny holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. If you have any 1950 Lincoln 1 cent coins lying around, now is the time to take a second look. You could be holding onto a coin that's worth a lot more than just 1 cent. As always, thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Keep your eyes peeled, happy collecting, and who knows, your next treasure might be just a penny away.